Hi everyone, and welcome to part 6. and Based on yesterday, chatting and talking about, choosing your will and wanting God's will at the same time, and how you cannot go onto two roads at the same time, right? I had someone ask me, okay, so what do I do? Because I chose my own way, so now what do I do, right? And to anybody that's also having that same kind of like viewpoint, like, oh my gosh, I've made all the wrong decisions. I feel like I haven't done it the right way. That's why God is a redeemer. Okay. So there's not necessarily anything really lost. Things are always redemptive. I'm such a big believer of that because that's just who God is. And the only difference that happens because God is a God of times and seasons is that if you miss something, because God knew already, but if you missed something, what's going to happen is you just have to wait a certain cycle for that allocated time to come open. But all the things that I told you beforehand are so important because until you learn surrender, you'll not necessarily go forward when it is the time and season. And I say that particularly because, to be honest, when times and seasons do come, they don't even necessarily always look like what you think they're gonna look like. Like, when I say that God doesn't make sense, but He makes sense, I mean that with every core of my being. Because how God gets results is so different to how we would do it. So different, and so, like, for instance, it doesn't make sense that God might put you on like this routine, and this is like a part of surrender because it's just obedience, right? God put you on this routine and say, I need you to work under this person for 3 months, right? And it's not anything related to your field or your desire, and you have like this unction and this desire to be like a media manager or whatever the case is, right? And you're working 3 months in construction. Literally, I'm telling you. And it is your obedience to do that that God will then open up a door, but it will not be the way you think it's going to be. You think that you're going to get to this job where you're going to be a media manager, and then God will literally tune you up and say, okay, now I need you to go and learn under this person that's in computer technology or whatever the case is, right? Or forex trading, okay? And I need you to take that course for a month. And you just do it, right? Wow, because every time you sow, you're not going to see it immediately, right? But you'll reap heftily. You will reap bountifully, right? Meaning like a large amount. And so then what happens is sometime along the line, somebody comes with some kind of opportunity, and it's not necessarily even what you thought that's how you would go into media managing. And it is like the most absurd kind of job opportunity where they're like, so we need somebody who's able to do like financial costs for us and whatnot, and God says, I need you to apply. Imagine, I need you to apply. And so you apply, and within a week they make you media manager of the entire company, or within a month, or within however much. But I'm just trying to show you that, like, it does not make sense how God works. But when He says He works all things together for your good, for those who love Him and are called according to His purpose, right? Because it's not just He works all things together for your good, it's He works all things together for your good for those who love Him and are called according to His purpose, right? So, from this, all I want you to know is that you're redeemable, your time is redeemable, God is with you, and He will bring things full circle. The only thing that you will have to wait for is a little time allocation to open up. But in that, as you are walking on the journey for another time allocation to open up, it is very important that you practice trusting God in the small things. You practice relationship with God in the small things, the daily things, because when God needs you to leap, because there's a door that you can't see, but there's an opportunity that does not necessarily look like an opportunity, you gotta go. Okay, I'll give you an example. Hmm, I'll give you an example from my life. Okay, so there is this club at my school, and there was this guy that kind of like was helping, start it up some semesters ago, whatever. And I didn't want to be in this club. I didn't want to be in this club. Let me tell you, I really didn't, right? And he was so adamant. So, anyways, he was like, "Can I get your number? Maybe you can come join the club." And I just gave my number just for, I was like, "Okay, cool." And anyways, so one day we were having a conversation, and he calls me, right, because I told him, like, I own a catering business, because like I told him I used to own a catering business, and stuff like that. So anyways, so one day he calls me and he's telling me, like, oh, all these things that they want to do in this business club. And, I was also doing an internship at one of the travel agencies, so he was asking about like permits and stuff like that. So that's why he had called me, right? And anyways, so I'm like, okay, what do you need this for? So he tells me whatever the plan was, right? And I told him, this is not going to work. And he was like, why? And I gave him like this little, very quick, like a minute rundown of why it's not going to work. And he was like, this is exactly why we need you in the club, right? He was like, this is exactly why we need you, because I was like, yeah, I'll come. I'm busy, because I was really busy at that time, And I didn't necessarily want to be in this club, and God wanted me to be in this club, and I couldn't in that current semester. And so I said to God, I said, I don't know why you want me in this club, God. I said, I really don't know. And I said, okay, you want me to be in this club, God? I'm asking, reserve my spot for me. Because that time the management team was huge. And when I tell you that my spot was reserved, that guy vouched for me so much anytime that they were like, we should find somebody to fill the spot. I said, God, you will keep my spot for me. And let me tell you, that spot was kept for me. Okay? Because only the next semester, my spot was filled with myself, And when I was now in the business club, I started to see, okay, I get you. I know why you're doing this now, right? But at the time, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make no sense to me. Even the favor that I had to be hosting the first event, it was literally for a reason. And who vouched for me? The exact same guy. I don't even have relations with him. We don't sit and chat. We're not necessarily like friends or anything, because this is how God will make things work for you. Do you know what I mean? So, but if I did not trust God, if I did not learn to say, God, okay, I'm busy, because I was really busy in that semester. Oh my gosh, I think one conversation God and I had continuously, or I was having with God continuously, I'm like, God, I don't know what to do with my time, because I was just like, I felt like a headless chicken. And so I'm like, and you want to do what? You want me to go to what club? And I was made vice president, and people loved me. In that huge management team, people wanted me to be the president and everything, So I was like, yo, okay. But this is just a very small example of what it looks like, okay? So I could have missed it, right? And I asked God, I said, can you hold my spot for me? I'm in agreement with you, and I just need you to please, because I think I only had maybe like 4 weeks left of the semester, 4 or 5 weeks or something like that. And I said, I genuinely cannot, God, with this current state, with all the things I want to do, I genuinely cannot. Can you hold it for me? And I will do it next semester. And he did. And the reason he was able to do that was because the time period was still allocated and open, right? So with all that being said, what I want you to know is that yes, your time is redeemable. Yes, you have made mistakes. God knew we were going to make mistakes. I have made mistakes, okay? Every single thing is redeemable. I don't care how you feel. I don't care who tells you otherwise, it's not true. Okay, because there is a nature of God that is his character and it is who he is, and he can't come out of that. So whatever you think is too big is not bigger than God. So be encouraged, okay? Does it take a little bit of time? Sure. Good results usually do take time, okay? I mean, if you take, for instance, like if you make a quick meal in 20 minutes, or if you make like that roast in the oven for like 3 hours, it tastes so good, right? So some things taste a lot better with the more time that is gained, right? Because when you take more time with something, you're practicing more, you're eliminating mistakes more, and you're building efficiently, that at the time when now you need to do it, say 6 months ahead, what took you 6 months to gain, now you can do it in a month. Do you understand? So, and you can teach it to people. I mean, it's like what I do. That's literally what I do, right? Even in ministry. What I am now able to do in intercession within 10 minutes used to take me 3 hours, 3 hours in intercession. 3 hours. Praying, 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 praying. Take a break, drink some water. Pray, 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 pray. 3 hours. And now I can get it done in 10 minutes. It just depends. But it genuinely, because I spend time cultivating that I learned, right? I learned where to lock, where to unlock, where to lock, where to unlock, where not to go, where to go, right? And that's just what it is, okay? So you can genuinely crunch time with your focus. Crunch time with your focus. And I will say that to you, that the best focus that you can have is God. He will help you. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. All these things shall be added unto you. You will lack nothing. Nothing. Okay? Thank you. And I will come back in the next one. I thought this was actually very important to address before I actually talk about the delays, just so that you are encouraged. Okay? And so in the next one, which will be tomorrow, I will talk to you a little bit about just the small delays that we usually make because we're like scared to go forward. And this is exactly what I'm saying now, while you're waiting for the time period of redemption or the time period that God is going to open up. It's the learning how to trust in the small obedience, even as small as God saying, can you spend 1 hour with me at 7 p.m.? And you do that. As soon as 7 p.m. comes, you just go and you go and spend time with God. Or can you go and sit with your family and get off of your phone, right? Every night, for every day, for 30 days, I want you to not be on your phone. Don't have the TV out in front of you or anything. And every time you have dinner, invite your family and have dinner with your family and listen and engage, right? Because right now the circumstance doesn't look like you would take that moment for granted until you move or until you transition, and now you're not seeing your family for 3 years, and God will crunch time, so much love and so much attention just in that 1 month, teaching you to listen and be attentive to your family. So it doesn't make sense in the moment, but it does in the long run. And those are the things that you hold on to, because God is always building your faith and he's always for you and wants to help you. So we just have to learn to not need everything to make sense, and always know that God will redeem you. He will redeem you. He's such a loving father. He will never say, oh, sorry, I can't help you with that. No, that's just not who he is. Okay. So I hope this helped you, and I will see you tomorrow for the next one. Bye.